Hi there everyone. On this video, we're going to take a look at how you can create timesheets for temp shift assignments. So for those of you who are using the temp shift jobs in Adapt and are going to be using the Adapt system to create your timesheets, enter in your hours so you can do your payroll, then this is really important for you to all know how to do. And it doesn't matter which RTD you're using or if you're not using any rate time definitions at all, it's still going to be the same method to run this. So as you might have noticed, I've already gone into our searches. So in available searches here. And from here, you can go to a time entry search. So this particular search, it only relates to temp shift. You won't be able to find any timesheets linked to temp regular in here. So when you run that search, it's always going to put the previous Sunday as a week ending date, and it's going to find any shifts that were expected for people to have worked, so assignments for the week previous. Now you can narrow down by timesheet status. You can look for a specific job for candidates that have worked that job. You can look for shifts at a particular client. You can look for a particular candidate and roles that they've worked, or you can break down to yourself. So looking for your shifts for that week or owning team. Once you've added in any filters, you can then run the search and you'll get listed in there any roles for the previous week. So we can see, and what I've done is I've gone to options and the formatter, and I've already added in further columns. So I can see the assignment, I can see in there the client, the candidate that was due to work, the contact I was speaking to, and the start and end dates for those assignments. So once you've done that, like with all the Adapt searches, to actually go and run any actions, you'll need to go and save your results. So I'm just going to put week ending, and let's put the 29th of March. There you go. So there are two ways. You could either go to an individual candidate if you wanted to send them a timesheet out just to that one person, or you could send out all the timesheets to be approved with all the hours on and for them to then be signed. So to run and send an email to an individual candidate, we can go into the assignment itself. You can see we're in the assignment here. You can go to activities and you can go to email timesheet. So this is going to send the timesheet out to the worker to complete. So you can go in here, put in the week ending date. And once you've pressed confirmed, you'll then get an email template coming up like this, and then you'll get an email blank timesheet. So it will send over a timesheet for the previous week, blank, no hours entered, and then the candidate can fill in their hours, get them signed, and send them back. So that's one way that you could use this. Now, if we go back to our list of results and click on this, particularly if you've got lots of shifts for the week, then this is a much quicker way to run it. So what you could do instead is you can tick and select all of those assignments for the week. You could then go to batch, which we know is where we can do multiple things at one time, so much quicker. And then you've got the option in there that's called Consolidated Time Report. So let's click on that. So what this does is this reports per client with a summary of their workers for that week that's broken down by job and then by contact. So it sends them out to the contact. The hours expected will be in there. They can then amend it, sign that timesheet, and then send it back to you. So a much quicker way to work. So you can see here straight away that 3 of the contacts, they've got a report. And then when you click onto, you can send, you can put in here your email, anything you want to type in there. So something general was going to multiple people, and then you can preview if you wish and send it out. Now, if you want to check anything, you can double check by double clicking on that report. It will open it up so you can see what it's looking like. So you can see for Marcin, we've got a bricklayer job, we've got 1 candidate, and we can see the expected hours for that week and the total. So you'd expect that contact to then go and check those, cross anything out, change the total if needed, initial it, and then send it back to you. What we can do is a basic template. We can put your branding in here for your agency to make it look nicer. So when you can preview it, you can then send it out, and it'll go out all So all of those people at one time. So it's such a great way to run that in your system. So once you've done that, then it's for you to then come back and to go through and update those hours according to the timesheet that's been signed. So what you can do in here is you can go to batch, and then you can go to batch timesheets. So this is you going through each timesheet and confirming those hours. So what you're seeing here, we can see, I'll show you the different types depending on the RTD selected. So for example, this particular timesheet is based on a weekly hours rate time definition. And what it's going to do, it's going to give you the total for the week, because that's the rate type that you've decided to use. So all you would do is look at the total hours for Alexa in that waitress role for Costa, 48, is it less or more? You can amend that in there, the total hours. As long as it's been signed, you can leave that as authorized. If it hasn't been signed, you just had a quick email through, or the candidate's told you, you can untick it and you can still put the hours through, but you won't be able to run the pay run, or it won't come through to the pay run until you've then authorized it. You can then go through, confirm. If there's any you want to skip and don't want to enter in yet, you can just skip them and it won't process it and it will move to the next one. So if we go through, we can see the next type of timesheet, and they're all different. We've got 5 different versions. So this is an example of when you're not using a rate time definition. So it lists all of the shifts for Valerie, for that person, the hours they were due to work, the rate type they're on. It also confirms the rate type at the bottom and the totals, which is great. So you know the expected rate. You can see everything in there, and then you can amend anything in here. So you can amend the total hours worked. You could even amend in there the pay rate for a particular day. Why you would do that, you probably wouldn't, but you can. Can you see how any field in here, even the rate type, if you suddenly wanted to give an overtime rate that day, yeah, so you could go and add that in as long as you've got an overtime rate on that particular client and framework. Sorry, job. Apologies, this is if you're not using a framework. So you've got a lot of flexibility of how you enter this in. One thing to let you know, if you prefer, when you're not using rate time definitions, if you prefer not to have the expected hours populated, so you prefer it blank, there is a setting that we can change for you so it's set as blank and doesn't pre-populate them. So let us know if you want that amended, or your administrator, and we can change that for you. So once you've made any amendments, then you can confirm. And then it's taken us through to a third type of timesheet. So this is if you're using shifts, so your shift RTD. So you can see they're expected to work a full day. You can see the shifts expected in there. You could go in there and say if they didn't work that day, you could then delete that shift out. And then what you could do is amend the total hours over here on the right. So you can see you can add those in for each day. Again, you've got that authorized option. Go and check that. You've got here your pay amounts on all of the timesheets, your charge amounts in there as well, your VAT totals. And then if you confirm when you're ready, and it will take you through to the next one. So then we've got one for daily hours. So as we can see, we've got in there, again, authorized, we've got by, we've got our end date. And now, because we're looking at a daily hours RTD, it breaks down for you to put the total hours per day in there rather than the total of the week. So again, you just go in, like most of them, as you've probably seen, make any amendments that you need to make. Gives you your totals here, and then confirm when done. Batch complete. There is one more RTD, which I failed to show you, which is the time bands one, which is actually the most popular, and I'll show you in a second. Before I do, I just wanted to show you here that in the batch options, if I just save that again, Must have rerun that, so that's why it's gone in there. So what we can see is, if you want, you've got an option in the batch called Authorized Timesheets. So if you do know that any of those timesheets you didn't authorize and you need to go back in to authorize that, you could then tick those particular ones, or you could just select all, and then you could go to batch, authorize timesheet. So then you know once you've done that for all the timesheets, they're ready for the payroll. It's a great way to be able to update that in there. You can also from here email your candidates by eShop to send out bulk email to the people that have worked previous week. So you have some great options in here as well. So anytime, if you wanted to go into view a particular timesheet that you've confirmed and you've run in the system to see the breakdown of the rates, all you need to do is click onto the assignment itself and you'll see it takes you into here. You can then, from there, scroll down and you'll see you've got a timesheet section that lists all the timesheets done in date order. So when you click on the timesheet ID, it takes you into the temp timesheet here. And then you've got a button from here that takes you down to the rates breakdown page. So you can see in here your basic rate, overtime 1, the pay and charge for those, and how many units have been applied, total units, and the net pay and charge in here as well. And you've also got in there timesheet lines, which would have in there total hours worked, total holiday, total sickness, if that's something that you're adding in there. So yeah, the rates breakdown is the key one in there for you. If you need to see that, we can go back. So that's everything I wanted to show you, except for that time band timesheet. So I'm just going to go and find that. So to show you, if I go back to searches, I go back into here, we go back to the time entry search. I know I've got a job in here that's works with the time bands. So if I put in there, I've got an electrician role, found that in there. And then if I run that search, save that in there as well. And then go and select that, go to batch. And then we've got batch timesheets. So just to show you finally, you've also got the time bands version. So if you're using that RTD, this is how it will look. See how you can amend the start and end time. So you can't go and amend the hours. It's all about the time in each day and the hours between that. So if you wanted to go and amend it, say they started a bit late on that particular day, that is how you would update that. So each of those, so it warns you if there's no valid rates. So rates obviously finish at 6, so you'd have to go and amend those rates if they go over. So yeah, you can see that each different rate time definition or the option that's no RTD all has different ways of entering either total hours for the day, total numbers for the week, amending everything in there, or amending the start and end times. So you've got plenty of tools in there on the time entry search. You can create the single email timesheets over to candidates. You can do batch timesheets over to the clients. You can authorize them in bulk or one at a time. You can go and view the timesheets if you need to as well. And you can see there's lots of different ways that the timesheets appear depending on the RTD that you're using.